Hi, it's Sue. Welcome back to my channel today. How are you all? I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying a relaxing weekend. It's actually Sunday as I'm filming this video, and here the weather is beautifully sunny, nice clear blue skies, but it's cold, very cold and windy. So the craft room is the place to be. Now, before I start, I'd just like to say welcome to my new subscribers. I noticed the numbers going up. It's a slow process, but it's lovely to see some new people here. And I would assume that, like me, you are crafty people who like to do a bit of paper craft, a bit of sewing, stitching, those sort of things. And this is the place where I share my makes. Okay, so let's get on with it. If you didn't know, if you're new here, I've been working on the 100-day challenge. And for 79 days, I was posting pretty much every day a small video. And then I had a few days away, and when I came back, I did this one, which was 81. And for 81, I'm just moving these out of the way. I've put them here because I think I'm going to have to bind this, which is volume 3 of my 100-day journal, get it off these big rings and bind it properly. It's getting a bit unmanageable now. I think I'll be up to volume 4. Anyway, yes, this was the last one I did, and this was sharing how I use book pages to make pockets. And, we paper crafters, we have lots of book pages generally. We like to buy old books. I started buying them just for the covers to use for my journals, but I've started now to use up some of the papers inside, and the older the books, the better the papers are. So yes, that was one of the pockets I made. I used that for day 81. I've used some more further down, and I'll share those with you. But for 82, put that up a bit higher. Now, I don't think I'd shared this project or one of these projects before on the 100-day challenge. I've certainly made them before. These are paper clusters, and they're used to decorate the side of a page or a piece of ephemera in a page. You know, you can use them for anything. If they're big enough, wide enough, you can use them on the side of a page for a tuck spot. So these I made literally by emptying my scrap bin of bits of torn off paper. Some of these have got some of my mark making tissue. What else have I got on? The cotton is just, when I use my sewing machine and cut off the ends, I put them into a little pouch and use those for this sort of thing. So they're cut off bits of cottons. What else can I tell you? Yeah, I've used some buttons on a couple. On a couple more, I've used pattern tissue and some of my little labels. These are tiny labels, but, perfect to add on. What else have I got? There's some more labels. I think they're Tracy labels, those. And again, bits of thread. This one and another one that I'll show you on one of my pages, I've added, these were some old earrings. I've got a friend who collects clip-ons. She doesn't have pierced ears, but she wears clip-ons, and people give her clip-on earrings because they're quite hard to find now. And any she doesn't want, she passes on to me. to use in something like this. So I literally just take the backs off and glue them to pieces. This one's quite chunky, so it would be, you know, it would make a page pretty chunky. But using the hot glue gun, they'll glue on quite well. So that was my day 82. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in again and open it up because I'm going to start adding the next few pages. So 83 is this page. And this page, still too low here, aren't I? There we go. And this is a flip, a fabric flip. And if you remember, we did, I think it was part of Rachel's challenge, where we stamped and painted to fabric. And I stamped this Gina K image to some homespun and then used my watercolour paints to lightly paint it, really just filling in. And then I have used embroidery stitch, nothing very fancy, back stitch, satin stitch. This is a bit of weaving here. There's some blanket stitch around here, some French knots, colonial knots, and more satin stitch around here. But, you know, a piece like that was quite easy. I think I've actually embroidered this onto a tray cloth somewhere. So yeah, that's a good stamp for that kind of thing. So yes, I've used it here as a flip on this page. And underneath are a couple of sheets of paper to either journal on or write on. Okay, so that was page 82. Is this part of this page. And this was a pocket to house this piece, or I've got 78 on there, it could have been 78. I've lost track a bit. That's a journal card. And again, it uses a stamped and painted image onto fabric. So that fits in this pocket that I've made with using a paper bag, a coloured paper bag, and just added some ephemera on the top, digital. And if you open the pocket up, okay, this is the other side. I've left this plain. Again, I may well go back and decorate it, but I decorated the inside of the pocket. These are, that's one of my labels. I think that one is too. And this is a graphics fair image, I believe. I've done a bit of stamping across the top. So that goes in next. Just pop those in. And that, then I decided I needed more tags for some of the pockets that I'd made. So I've made these. And if you remember, this was one of the book page pockets. And I've decorated the front of that. And it actually has, you could use 1, 2, 3, 4 tags in this pocket. I've only used 3. But what I've done here is I've made my tags from book pages. And book pages stuck to, I think it was a cereal packet. And then these images are from a serviette, a napkin. And I have added those, you know how you peel back to the top layer of the napkin and then use, what's it called? This multi-medium mat to glue and finish these off so that they literally disappear into the background. So that was a very colourful napkin that I had, and thought, oh, actually I had it out the other day, had a few of those out, and I kept one and thought that's what I'll do. I'll make some tags. This one, that was a straightforward tag. This one has a couple of pages at the bottom for journaling or writing on notes. And what I did on the book page before I added the napkin was I just used my inks, added a bit of washi just to add some colour to the book page. So a bit of fancy lace there. What else? This one, oops. This one again, I've used a couple of different napkins on that, added a tag, just wrapped it round, and that sits in this front pocket. Okay, so I've lost track already. So then we go on to this one, which is another pocket. And I thought for this one, sorry, let's get it in view. For this one, I'd make a circle pocket. And to do this, I've just cut 2 circles using a die, folded one of them in half to form the pocket, added a tissue paper ruffle, a little label attached with some brads, done a bit of extra, added a bit of extra tapes and scraps to the front of there. And when I've attached this, I've attached it in only enough to hold it so that I can add the tags. And I've used, these of course are papers from Vibe of Vintage. And on some I've just cut out, her papers are lovely. There's lots of separate little bits that you can cut out and use. And here I've cut these out and added them to some of this card just to raise them up a bit. And this is one of those paper clusters. And it's quite a plain one, just with some cotton added. So that slots behind. 2 more, some stamping. I've added a postage stamp to that one, added a bit of stamping at the bottom. You know, you can do as much or as little as you want with these. So that was that page. So slot that in. Okay, this is the next one. This is another pocket, quite a simple pocket, using the same paper as the background, but the reverse side. I've added a pocket onto this, and again I've used one of those paper ruffles. This one's got another part of an earring on, which is quite pretty. Some die cut, bit of washi, and this image here I've double stamped that, so it's stamped in a pale pumice stone, I think it was, I used first, and then tea dye, not tea dye, vintage paper, just slightly off from where I've printed it the first time, so you get that, it's a sort of a shadow if you like. Done a bit of spritzing along the back, and inside the pocket just a plainish tag with some die cut flowers, blooms, and that just slots nicely into that pocket, and that sits on there. Okay, next one. Here we go. I've used another of the paper book page pockets. This was the crossover pocket that, you know, depending how you added it to your page, you could have one tab behind the pocket, one in here, and sorry, one in there, one in here, and in here you could probably get 2 if not 3, because that's the piece that was turned up. I've just put 1 in there, but I've decorated the front with some just little labels, stamped some pieces and added them with a brad to the side there. What else have we got in here? Well, this isn't a piece that I have stamped, and inside it's got some writing space, and then on the front a shorter version with writing space and a pocket behind, and I've stamped the front of that one. And here we go. Here's a little tag that could sit in the back pocket. Actually, I need to do some sponging on that, some inking around the edge, but that could sit in there. And that slots in the back pocket. I stitched around my pockets, so they're quite sturdy. This is a simple ephemera piece. That's a digital. And this piece, I've just used my stamps, die cut the pointing finger and added that to the front. So lots of different stamps on there. And that just slots in the front pocket. Flop that over. And that made quite a nice little pocket, filled pocket for a page. Pop that in. Then the last piece that I made is this one, and this was sitting in my journal, and it literally is just a tag. It's one of these Borton tags. And what I did was just turned it up at the bottom to form this pocket. And then I've obviously punched it ready to go into the binder. Now to cover this, that's some of my, do you remember we did, oh gosh, what was that? That was, oh yeah, that was, oh gosh, what do they call it? Using the, I keep going back to my cupboard. If you wonder where I'm disappearing to, my cupboard is right behind me. The gel press, gel plate. That was one of my jelly plate pieces, using the stamps we made, the foam stamps that we made as part of Rachel's challenge, and these stamps. And I think it's that one. I didn't think it turned out quite very well on the jelly plate, because I ended up with all these bits, you know, blank bits where the paint sort of spread. But actually, when you use it as a background, it's not too bad. The pocket I've covered using, that is tape, just a bit of washi. This is an offcut of one of my other tags, and I've just stamped over there and added the butterfly to finish it off. And the tag is another piece that I've inked, played around with my inks, and decoupaged the napkin over the top. That's a pretty lemons and blues napkin. And that just slots into the pocket like so, and fits in the back there. So now if I close these big rings, and I'm just keeping it on the big rings for now until it's ready to go in. You can see I've got 2 empty pages there. So let's just double check. That was 81, 82, 83 or whatever. Swap them around. Go again. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, and 89. I didn't show you the back because I did some stamping on the back and it didn't turn out very well, but never mind. So I think I'm up to day 89, but I will double check that to make sure I haven't skipped any. I could have. I need to put the numbers on them all, I think. Yeah, so as you can see, that is more than I am going to get into one binding. So I think we'll have to end it somewhere like here or even there, and then start the next section. But we haven't got far to go now, so hopefully one more will do it. Okay, thank you so much for calling past. I hope you'll excuse the way I've done this one. I just really needed to catch up, and it's much quicker for me, as I say, without having to film as I go, rather show you the completed. If there's anything there that I've made that you think you want more info on, just let me know and I will share. Okay, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I've got a nice roast dinner organised. It's that kind of weather, so I better go and get on. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.